point, was law enforcement, did they seem too concerned?
No.
Was it because of the time frame that she'd been gone?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want me to elaborate?
No. But I mean, at that point, it had only been 48 hours, right?
A little less, yes.
Okay. And then after the 10th, excuse me, was there a time that you reported Taylor missing again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and when was that?
September 14th, which was a Thursday. It was in the evening. I went to the police department.
Okay. Now, prior to your first report on September 10th, when was the last time you had physically seen, excuse me, when was the last time you had physically seen Taylor Wright?
You said prior to her leaving?
Prior to you reporting her missing on the 10th, when was the last time you had physically seen her?
September 8th, Friday.
And where did you see Taylor on September 8th?
At my house on Berkeley Drive.
Okay. And is that in Pensacola, Florida?
Yes, ma'am.
Was Taylor living with you at the time?
She was.
What time was it on September 8th when you last saw Taylor, approximately?
Approximately 10 a.m.
And what were the circumstances? What was going on around 10 a.m.?
I was getting ready to leave to go volunteer. I had to count shirts for an event coming up the following week, and she was getting ready to leave the house.
And was she leaving the house with anybody?
Yes.
Who was she leaving with?
Ashley
Ashley who?
McArthur.
You said that they were leaving your house?
At the time, no. I left before both of them went wherever.
Okay, very good. Were you familiar with Ashley McArthur at that time?
I was.
Okay, and how did you know her?
Through Taylor.
Now, do you see Ashley McArthur in the courtroom today?
I do.
Can you please point to her and identify what she's wearing?
She's right here. She's wearing a black outfit.
Okay. Is she seated in between her two attorneys?
Yes, ma'am.
Let the record reflect this witness has identified the defendant. Now, prior to Ashley and Taylor being at your home that morning, what was Taylor's demeanor that morning? How did she seem?
Initially, she seemed okay.
Okay. Did that later change that morning?
It did.
Okay. When was that?
As it got closer to me leaving and Ashley arriving.
Okay. And how did her demeanor change? If she started okay, what did she seem?
She started getting stressed out.
Now, had Taylor been drinking alcohol that morning at your home?
No,
Was Taylor a big drinker?
not really.
Did you know Taylor to drink in the morning or before noon?
No.
Did Taylor have a car at that time?
She did.
Okay. And was it at your house on that day, September 8th?
Yes, ma'am.
Did it ever leave that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. I was gone at a point, though, so
Okay. Do you know if Taylor and Ashley left together that morning?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. What were they doing, Taylor and Ashley, when you left?
Ashley had just pulled up to my house. Taylor was walking me out to my car. I said, "Good morning. Hey, Ash."
And then you went on your way?
I went on my way.
Okay, very
I
good.
left.
Did Taylor have a cell phone back then?
She did.
Just one?
That I know of.
Did you ever see another cell phone?
No.
And do you recall what her cell phone number was back then?
954-320-0310. I know it was a 954 area code.
If I show you some text messages with Taylor, would that help refresh your memory?
Sure. Good.
All right, Mr. John Bross's handling the witness, right?
Understand that.
Can you just take a look at those messages and
She
just...
showed me an exhibit.
I understand Mr. Brossett, but is John Brossett handling this exhibit? I mean, this witness?
I'm sorry?
No, I'm directing this to the attorneys. Ms. Jensen will ask the question again.
Does that help refresh your memory for her phone number back then?
Yes.
Okay, and can you state it again, please?
954-520-0310.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Do you know if Taylor had like a code on her phone, or do you know how she would?
She would use fingerprint.
Did you have a cell phone back then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and can you state what your number was for the record?
850-390-3049.
Now, after you left your home on September 8th of 2017, well, actually, let me back up. What time did you leave approximately?
Around 10 a.m. in the morning.
And did you speak, in other words, with your voice, over the phone with Taylor at all on September 8th?
No,
Did you text her at times that morning?
I did.
And did she respond at times?
She did.
When was the last text that you received from her that morning?
Probably sometime between 11 and 12.
Does 11:28 a.m. sound about right?
Yes.
Now, was there a time when your text messages to Taylor stopped? Or, excuse me, her responses to your text messages, did they stop?
Yes.
Okay. And did you begin calling Taylor Wright?
I did try.
Okay. Did she ever answer?
No.
Did you take screenshots of your text messages from September 8th of 2017?
Yes, I did.
And do they show the dates and the times of your messages to Taylor and her responses?
They show the times.
Okay.
I want to say they show the date too. I can't recall.
Okay.
Could court reporter? No.
Okay.
Counsel, approach the court reporter, please mute. You may.
Ms. Waller, I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 3. You'll just take a look at that exhibit and see if you recognize it. And it's actually 3A through D. There are 4 pages. Do you recognize those?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you take those screenshots of your text messages?
I did.
And do they fairly and accurately reflect the date and the time of the text messages between you and Taylor on September 8th of 2017? If you look on the first page, page 3.
Yeah, I see the 8th. They do.
Okay, very good. Judge, at this time, I would move States 3A through D into evidence.
Your Honor, we object based on the bench conference we had.
All right, I'll overrule the objection that be received as states 3A through D.
Ms. Waller, on, let me see. On page B, at about 3:24 p.m., you sent Taylor a text, is that correct?
I did.
Okay, and did she respond to that?
No,
Okay. And did you call her then at that point?
I did.
Okay, and did she answer?
No,
Did you have Ashley McArthur's cell phone number at that time?
I did.
And do you remember what that was? The number?
850-712-2299.
Okay. And did you try calling or texting Ashley at that point?
I think I texted her first.
Okay. And when you texted Ashley, did she respond?
I can't remember if she texted back or if she called me back.
Okay.
At first, I know she ended up calling me.
Okay. If she did text you back, So did she text and call, or,
I think she texted me, she said, "We're okay."
okay. And then did she end up calling you?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the nature of that conversation?
I asked her where they were, and I hadn't heard from Taylor.
What did she tell you?
She told me that Taylor was emotional, that she was out riding a horse on on Ashley's family farm in Milton, and that they'd be home shortly. And I told her to have Taylor call me when she got off the horse.
Did you hear from Taylor after your conversation with Ashley McArthur?
Up until like the text in the evening?
No, I just mean at that point.
No.
Now, Taylor had apparently responded to some of your text messages earlier that morning, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And now she was not. Did that seem usual or unusual for that day?
That seemed unusual.
After this conversation with Ashley, when she said they were at a farm in Milton, did you contact Ashley again that day, later that same day?
I did.
Okay. And when was that?
Sometime in the evening. It's after 5.
And was that by text or by phone call or by both?
I believe I texted her.
Okay. And did she respond either by text or by phone call?
Yes, but I can't recall which one.
That's okay. Do you remember if you ended up speaking to her later that evening?
I did.
Okay. And what did she tell you at that point?
She just, again, repeated that Taylor was emotional that day. She was stressed out with the things going on with her ex-husband, the divorce. She had told me that she had some of Taylor's jewelry that was left in her car, and she didn't want to hold on to it, so she brought it to my house. She had told me that that she repeated that how Taylor left in an Uber from her house.
Did did Ashley say approximately what time Taylor left in an Uber?
Sometime between 5 and 5:30 in the evening.
After Ashley told you that Taylor left in an Uber, did you still continue trying to call Taylor?
I did.
Okay. And did you get any
Nothing.
response?
I'm not sure, we may have overlapped. What was your answer to that?
Yes, I did try and call her.
And did
No
you get a
response.
Okay. Okay. Now, a few minutes, I guess, after that conversation with Ashley, did you receive a text from Taylor's phone to your phone?
Yes,
Okay. Do you remember about what time that was?
it's about 7:28, I believe.
And did that text message sound like Taylor?
I'm gonna object to speculation.
I'm going to overrule. You can answer the question.
Most of it sounded like Taylor, except for the last part.
Okay. And what was unusual about the last part?
She said, "I was trying to get my life organized and back on track." She didn't feel like her life was unorganized.
Okay. So that seemed odd to you?
That did.
Okay. Now, later that same day, this is still on the 8th, did you see Ashley McArthur?
I did.
Okay, and where was that? What was that situation?
That was in the evening when she came to my house to bring me the jewelry that was left in her vehicle.
How long do you think Taylor was at your home, if you recall?
Taylor?
I'm sorry, how long was Ashley at your home, if you recall?
No more than 15, 20 minutes.
All right. Now, did Ashley McArthur tell you any property that Taylor may have had when she left in this Uber?
property that Taylor may have
Yeah,
had.
did Taylor have any belongings with her when
She said that Taylor left with 2 brown bags. That's what she initially had told me.
Okay. And did she say that they had anything in them?
She said that one of the bags had some of Taylor's clothing in it. Some had, the other bag had like papers in it and some checks.
Did she say anything about cash?
She said cash and checks,
Okay.
actually.
And would it have been usual or unusual for Taylor to have these brown bags?
No.
No, but which one? Is it usual or unusual?
Oh, it was usual.
Okay. Now, did you end up, well, did Ashley tell you something different later?
She did.
What'd she tell you?
She said it was a brown bag and a black bag, or grayish bag.
Okay. And then did you actually end up finding those bags?
I did.
Okay, and where were they?
The blackish gray bag was found in Taylor's truck, and then the brown bag was found in my 3rd bedroom.
And when you found them, did they have money or checks or clothing or anything in them?
Clothing was in the bag that was in the vehicle. I don't know if no checks were found in a bag in the back bedroom. There was a check found, but not in that bag.
Okay. Now, after Ashley left your house that night on the 8th, did you hear from her any more that night?
I did.
Okay. And what was the nature of that
I'm
contact?
sorry, you said from Taylor?
No, from Ashley. Did you hear from Ashley after she left your home that night?
I did.
Okay. And what was the context of that contact?
She texted me late in the evening. It was almost midnight. She sent me a screenshot of a text that she received from Taylor. And she just said, "I'm sorry to text you so late. I just received this, thought that you might want to see it."
Okay. And did you read the text message that was from Taylor to her?
I did.
And again, same question as earlier, did that text message sound like Taylor to you?
That one seemed very odd.
Okay.
Same objection,
Same objection.
rule the same overall.
And why did it seem very odd?
Because she said court and the move was stressing her out. She was stressed with court. She wasn't stressed out about the move at all. She was very excited.
You're talking about the move, you mean
Moving into my house.
Okay. Right. Now, did you also screenshot your text conversation with Ashley McArthur on September 8th, 2017 regarding Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Waller, I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 4. It's A through L, 12 pages. And if you'll just take a look through those and see if you recognize. All right, now I'm going to jump back to September 8th. After you did not hear from Taylor for a few days, were you angry?
Yeah.
Were you upset?
Yes.
Okay. And had you and Taylor recently had, I guess, some trust issues?
Yes.
Okay. Are you okay? Right. And was there a conversation that you and Taylor had at Ashley McArthur's home?
Yes.
Okay. And approximately when was that?
The end of July 2017.
Who all was there? Ashley's-
Ashley, Taylor, and I.
Okay. And what did you learn during that meeting, I guess?
That Taylor had cheated on me. She had another relationship.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes. Taylor told me that she had done drugs.
Did she say what kind of drugs?
She said cocaine.
And did she say how many times she had done it?
She said 3 times.
After that conversation, did you and Taylor remain together as a couple?
Yes.
Now, when Taylor, when you hadn't heard from her after September 8th, did that bring kind of all those emotions and feelings back for you?
Yes, it did.
Okay. And what did you end up doing with Taylor's belongings?
A lot of stuff was already packed up because she was in the process of moving her belongings into the house. And at that point, with me being upset, I just put it back in the box truck.
Okay. And where was the box truck?
It was in my driveway.
And then what did you end up doing with the stuff that was in the box truck?
A gentleman that works for Ashley named James came and picked up the box truck and took it to Ashley's warehouse.
Okay. And had you asked Ashley to do that?
Yes.
Okay. And what date was Taylor's property moved? What day was it moved?
The Monday after, so that would have been the September 11th.
And where was it taken to?
A warehouse that Ashley owns, works out of.
Do you know the street that it was on?
Pace Boulevard.
And do you remember about what time it was that her stuff was moved from your house to the warehouse?
The afternoon, maybe between 1 and 3. I'm not 100% certain on that time.
Could it have been a little bit later?
Could have been.
All right. And who did you say James was?
My understanding is he was an employee with Ashley.
Okay, very good. Was he helpful with moving Taylor's belongings?
He was.
Okay. Now, where was Taylor's car on the 8th?
It was in my driveway, kind of off to the side in the grass.
Okay. And did you end up going through it?
I did.
Was anyone with you?
Yes.
Who was with you?
Ashley.
And when did you and Ashley go through Taylor's car?
That would have been the Thursday after she went missing, so that was September 14th.
And do you remember approximately what time that was that you went through Taylor's car?
That would have been in the late afternoon, like 4, 5, 6, somewhere around there.
Was anything removed from Taylor's car?
Yes.
What?
4 knives and 2 guns.
Anything else? I think you said something about there was a bag in there.
There was what?
A bag?
Well, yeah, the grayish black bag.
Okay. The knives and the guns that were found in Taylor's car, did either you or Ashley take pictures of those?
I know we took pictures. I can't remember if I took the picture or if Ashley took the picture, though.
Okay. Were they texted to you, though, I guess to like document?
Yes, yes. So, yeah, then Ashley took the pictures. That's right.
And then she texted the pictures to you?
Yes.
Okay. And then what was supposed to be done with those guns?
I asked Ashley to take them. I don't like weapons.
Okay.
I had no safekeeping of it.
Okay. Did she indicate she had someplace she could put
She
them?
said that she had a safe.
Okay. All right, first witness.
You may.
Ms. Waller, I'm going to show you what have been previously marked as State's Exhibits 5 and 6. You'll just take a look at those and see if you recognize them.
I do.
All right. And were those photos taken on September 14th, 2017?
Yes.
And were those guns found in Taylor's car on that day?
Yes.
Judge, at this time, I would move States 5 and 6 into evidence.
No objection.
Received as states 5 and 6.
Judge, and if I could just publish them real quick.
Sure.
Watch your eyes, it's going to go right. This is State's Exhibit 5 for the record, and this is State's Exhibit number 6. Are those your fingernails or are those Ashley's?
Ashley's.
Okay. Do you remember what Taylor was wearing on September 8th, 2017 when you last saw her?
Shorts, t-shirt, flip-flops. She had some jewelry on as well.
Okay. And what kind of jewelry did she have on?
She always wore a necklace that had a bullet. She wore a ring on her thumb. And then she also wore a bracelet with the scales of justice.
Ms. Fuller, I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 7. If you'll take a look at that and see if you recognize it.
I do.
And is that a photograph of Taylor, right?
It is.
And does it show a necklace, the bullet necklace you just described?
It does.
Judge, at this time, I would move State 7 into evidence.
No objection.
Received as State 7.
If I could just publish it for the jury. This is State Exhibit number 7. Ms. Waller, did you know Taylor to use Ubers?
Not in the time frame that I was with her.
Okay. And at some point after you hadn't heard from her, did you, I guess, get into her account?
I did.
Okay. And when was the last time she used an Uber?
It was a trip that she took to Las Vegas, which was
Sustained.
20.
Sustained,
Oh.
don't answer the question.
My apologies.
Judge, can we approach?
Counsel approach the court reporter and please remove the mic.
I think you said you didn't know Taylor to use an Uber in the time that you knew her.
I have not seen her use Uber
Right.
whenever I was with her.
Okay. Are you familiar with Taylor Wright's handwriting signature?
Yes.
Ms. Waller, I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 26. Does that look like Taylor's signature?
This one right here?
I'm going to object, Judge. There's no basis for her to give that opinion.
In the course of your relationship,
I'll sustain it, and Ms. Jensen, you may follow up.
during the course of your relationship with Taylor Wright, did you ever have an opportunity to see her handwriting?
Yes.
Did she write you letters?
Yes.
Did she give you cards?
Yes.
Were you familiar with her handwriting and her signature?
Yes.
All right, I'll overrule the objection.
Again, I'm showing you State's Exhibit number 26. Does that look like Taylor Wright's handwriting?
That is not Taylor's handwriting
Or her signature?
or her signature.
Ashley mentioned Taylor was riding a horse at this farm in Milton on September 8th. Did Ashley ever mention a farm on Britt Road to you?
No.
In any conversations you had with Ashley McArthur, did she mention Taylor having a lockbox on Britt Road?
No.
Those are my questions. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Mr. John Barossett is going to cross-examine you, and just remember, if it's a yes or no, just answer the question, don't volunteer extra information, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And then Ms. Jensen will get to go last.
Good morning, Ms. Waller.
Morning.
You described your relationship with Taylor Wright as not hostile, correct?
Correct.
Or, excuse me, not volatile. That was the word, correct?
Correct.
When you couldn't get in touch with Taylor Wright on September 8th, 2017, you would agree that you were very frustrated and angry with her, correct?
Yes,
As those text messages show, you called her a liar,
I did.
you called her a drug user,
I did.
you mentioned that you knew more things to her. I know everything, things you don't even know that I know, Taylor, correct?
Yes.
Going back to late July 2017, you indicated to us that you received information that Taylor was having some sort of relationship with another woman over in Mississippi, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you also said that there was a meeting, I believe maybe the next day at Ashley McArthur's house where you found out more information, and that being that Taylor was also, I guess, potentially using illegal drugs, correct?
That's correct.
And in fact, after that, you did end the relationship for a period of time with Taylor, didn't you?
Maybe a day or two, a couple days.
Did you mention a week earlier that y'all were broken up?
Did I mention a week?
Were y'all broken up for a week?
I mean, we were having
Yes or no, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Back to 9/8, staying on the same topic. When you could not get in touch with Taylor Wright that evening, besides the things you said, you did something else that evening, right?
I did.
You went out and bought, a drug test for Taylor Wright, right?
I did.
So when she came home, you were going to demand that she take that drug test.
Yes.
Okay, so y'all's relationship was not volatile.
No.
Back to that meeting at Ashley McArthur's house where you had this conversation with Taylor Wright in July of 2017. When you arrived at the residence, Taylor Wright was already there, correct?
Yes.
And she was,
I'm sorry, that light is bright, the projector.
Okay, we'll cover it up.
Thank you.
okay.
Yes, thank you.
When you arrived at Ashley McArthur's house in July of 2017 for that meeting, Taylor Wright was already at the residence, correct?
Yes.
No one else was there, correct? So then when you went in, it was just the two of you, correct?
Yes.
How did Taylor Wright gain access to the residence?
She had a key.
She had a key to Ashley McArthur's residence?
Yes.
You did get to witness, at least on some occasions, the relationship between Ashley McArthur and Taylor Wright, correct?
Yes.
Okay, for example, I think the three of y'all may have done brunch together one time, correct?
Correct.
And then in August, as late as, and I don't know the exact date, but August of 2017, there was a trip over to New Orleans, correct?
Yes.
I know there was some snags on that trip. One person that went on the trip got sick and kind of derailed things, correct?
Yes.
But you did get to see Ashley McArthur and Taylor Wright interact in New Orleans in August of 2017.
Yes.
And you know what we're here about. I mean, there was nothing during that trip that caused you any concern about their relationship at all, correct?
No.
Spending time with Miss Wright, fair to say it became obvious that she was...
Y'all okay? We have people pulling out blankets. I wanted to make sure they heard your question, Mr. Barossett, so hang on
Thank
a
you.
second. Let me pretend to go over here and adjust the thermostat. You may ask again, Mr. Barossett.
During the time that you did spend with Miss Wright, it became obvious that she was going through some issues with her ex-husband, Jeff Wright, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever meet Mr. Wright face to face
Before or after Taylor?
before this incident?
No.
Okay. But would it be fair to say that pretty much the entire time that you knew Taylor Wright, she seemed to be in some sort of, for lack of a better word, turmoil with her ex-husband, Jeff Wright?
Yes.
And fair to say that she pretty much, from your observations of Taylor Wright in this disagreement with her ex-husband, that she kind of had a win at all costs attitude, that she was not going to let Mr. Wright win, correct?
Yes.
I mean, even to the point of she was not, I mean, she made it very clear she was not giving him any money back, correct?
Yes.
Taylor Wright moved in with you at your residence sometime around the end of August, beginning of September 2017?
Yes.
Somewhere in that time frame? And to move into your residence, it was Ashley McArthur let y'all use one of her company's trucks, correct? Her family's company's trucks to move Taylor's stuff?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, an employee, I believe you mentioned, from a business that the McArthur, the Britt family owns, helped with the move, correct?
Yes.
It's fair to say that this truck sat in your driveway for, I don't know, a week or two, approximately?
A week?
A week, okay. And the vast majority of Taylor Wright's belongings remained in that truck as it sat in your driveway, correct?
Yes.
And that truck was in your driveway at the time on September 8th, 2017, the last time you say you saw Taylor Wright, correct?
Yes.
Do you know what kind of telephone Taylor Wright had?
An iPhone?
And to get in her iPhone, I believe you were somewhat aware of how to get into it. You said that it had to have a fingerprint to get into it?
Yes.
Could you get in with a passcode?
I'm not sure.
Okay. But you had the ability to get in her phone, correct?
I did.
And the reason you had the ability is because after y'all had some of the incidents in July, you made it so that you could open her phone with your thumbprint, correct?
That was Taylor's suggestion. That's correct.
Okay. My question, okay, so but that was, y'all had,
Yes.
okay, and so you could access her phone with your thumbprint.
Yes.
So the only two people you know could access her phone with her thumbprint would be her and you.
Yes.
Let's talk about September 7th, 2017. I believe that was a Thursday night that y'all met up at the Twin Peaks restaurant, correct?
Yes.
That's the one up there by Cordova Mall?
Correct.
All right. And you and Miss Wright were there first, is that correct?
Yes.
And subsequently Miss McArthur showed up.
Yes.
And what I heard you testify to was basically there was a conversation about Ashley McArthur picking up Taylor to take her to a bank or something like that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I believe you mentioned that the conversation was somewhat tense. You may have used a word such as that, correct?
Not necessarily the conversation, but the
Oh.
demeanor of the two.
The demeanor. Is it fair to say at that dinner or that get-together that you were already, or at some point during the dinner, got upset with Miss Wright about something that happened that day?
I got upset with Miss Wright.
That's what I'm asking you. Did you get upset with her? Were you upset with her at that dinner? Let me see if I can help you. When you got to that dinner, or at least maybe sometime before that dinner, were you under the understanding that Taylor had been in Destin all day that day with Ashley McArthur?
I think that sounds familiar.
And had you not found out that that was not true? That Ashley hadn't been with her that day?
I did find that out.
Okay. And you were upset at the dinner about Taylor lying to you?
No, I was not upset with Taylor at dinner.
Okay. Staying with this conversation at Twin Peaks, you knew Taylor for an extended period of time. Taylor Wright is not a shy person, is she?
No.
Okay. She's not the type of person that is meek or described as mild, correct?
No.
Not at all.
No.
So there was no conversation of Taylor Wright looking at Ashley McArthur saying, "Give me my money. I want my money." Nothing like that, right?
No,
There was no, "Why are you stealing my money?"
no,
There was no, "Why don't you give me my money?"
no.
There was no, "Why are you making it so difficult for me to get my money?"
There was that.
She said that.
Not in those words.
Okay. That evening, did you, September 7th, 2017, did you and Taylor Wright go back to your house after leaving Twin Peaks?
Yes,
Okay. And we all together, slept together, stayed together at your house that evening?
yes,
Were you with her until the next morning when you say, you left for work and you saw Ashley McArthur come over?
yes,
Y'all were together?
yes.
Okay. When Ashley McArthur came over to your house the next morning, what time do you think that would have been? This is on September 8th, 2017.
It was around that 10 a.m. time frame.
Okay. What vehicle did she come over in?
I recall a black four-door Jeep.
A black Jeep? Okay. Is that several models of Jeep? There's like the Liberty, the Cherokee,
Oh,
a
a
Wrangler?
Wrangler.
Black Wrangler? So Saturday, September 9th, you did not hear from Taylor Wright.
No,
Okay. At that point, I believe you had not contacted law enforcement on Saturday, correct?
I did not.
It was so Sunday, September 11th, you contacted, I'm sorry, it was the 10th? I apologize. The 10th you contacted law enforcement, is that what I heard?
Yes,
Now let's go to September 11th, that Monday. I believe you testified that you don't like guns, correct?
I don't.
Okay. Now, on September, and I maybe have my dates wrong, but September 11th, didn't you ask Ashley McArthur to bring you a gun?
I did.
Okay. And she brought you over a gun at your request.
She did.
Why did you ask for a gun?
Because I had been in text conversation with Jeff about everything, and he put a little fear in me that I should protect myself.
Jeff being Jeff Wright?
Yes,
I think you subsequently bought your own gun later that week, correct?
I did.
We'll come back to the 11th in just a second, but I think you said there was also the day that maybe some belongings were moved. Is that the date? Taylor's belongings were moved from your house?
Yes,
Okay, we'll come back to that in just a second. Now, the 14th of September is when you say you and Ashley McArthur went into Taylor Wright's car, correct?
yes,
And it was your idea to search her car, correct?
yes,
And you asked Ashley McArthur to help you?
yes,
And I believe the state introduced into evidence some pictures of some guns that were located in the vehicle?
yes,
Taylor's vehicle? And those guns, you said, I don't want to keep those guns. We'll give those to Ashley McArthur to hold, correct?
correct.
Even though you had just asked for a gun a couple days before.
Well, they were semi-automatics. I don't know.
Just answer yes or no.
Yes,
Okay. In the time that you knew Taylor Wright, she liked guns, correct?
yes.
Did you know her to have a lot of guns?
I knew of 3.
Did you know her to frequent or go to gun stores?
Gun shows.
Gun shows, okay.
Yes.
And to buy and sell, trade guns, whatever you do at gun shows?
Yes.
Going back to September 11th, the Monday, if I believe it was correct, of 2017. At that point, you had not heard from Miss Wright in 2 days, give or take?
Correct.
All right. And what you did was at that point, whatever belongings she had in your house, you took those and you put them in the box truck that was in your driveway, correct?
Yes.
And then on that same day, September 11th, once the box truck was loaded up with whatever her belonging, you called someone, you wanted it gone, correct?
Ashley, yes.
Okay. And the same gentleman, I think Mr. James Hayes, came over and took all that stuff.
Yes.
So just within a couple of days of not hearing from Taylor Wright, you wanted all her stuff gone.
Yes.
Can I have one moment?
I texted somebody about the temperature. Is everybody kind of okay, but we got a few that are cold. And unfortunately, once you go to the other extreme, you're going to start peeling clothing off, and that's fraught with potential dangers.
Can I ask the prosecutor to please move the paper boxes so I have the full village of the courtroom?
I agree. We can't see the juror.
Can we move forward?
I need a data access.
Can you put them on your card, Ms. Jensen? There's a part right there. Is that your card? Well,
Well, no, he can't see. Okay, look.
Sit him down on the floor.
How about right here?
all right, everybody good? We're good? Thank you, Mr. Ross. All right.
Just a few more questions, Ms. Waller. The reason you got the gun from Ashley McArthur is because you were scared of Taylor Wright at that time. And in all the times that you saw Ashley McArthur and Taylor Wright together, you never heard, saw anything to indicate to you that Ashley McArthur was threatening to harm Taylor Wright, causing her, going to cause her any physical harm, anything like that?
No.
And no indication that Taylor Wright was scared of her or anything like that?
No.
No further questions.
All right, redirect, Ms. Jensen.
When Mr. Brossett was asking you about guns, is there a certain reason why you didn't use Taylor's?
Because I don't know how to use a semi-automatic.
Okay. What kind of gun did Ashley McArthur bring you?
A revolver?
Now, let's talk about being scared of Taylor Wright. Was Taylor Wright ever violent with you?
Never.
Did she do anything to make you fear her?
Never.
Who put that fear in your head?
Jeff.
The person that she was going through this contentious court proceeding with?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Brossett was asking you about this meeting at Twin Peaks on September 7th. And he said Taylor wasn't demanding or yelling or whatever that line of questioning was about her money.
No.
Okay. But he asked you if she said, "Why are you making it so difficult to get my money?" And you said she did say that.
In different words, yes.
Okay, well, what was the conversation?
She had told me leading up to that night.
Sustain. Don't talk about what Taylor told you leading up to. Just answer Ms. Jensen's question.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, at Twin Peaks, Mr. Barasa had asked you if Taylor said something like, "Why are you making it so difficult to get my money?" And you said, yes, Taylor did say that.
She did.
Okay, so what did she say?
She felt like Ashley was making it hard to get her money. She kept making excuses.
Okay. You said that you thought Ashley arrived at your home that morning in a Jeep?
That's what I remember.
Okay. Is that the vehicle that you normally saw Ashley in whenever you did see her?
Yes.
Okay. Is it possible it was a different car?
Yeah.
Thank you. Those are all my questions.
All right, is she free to go?
Judge, I would allow her to be released from the courthouse, but she could be subject to recall.
Okay. Okay. All right, you're free to leave the courthouse. Don't talk about your testimony, but we may call you, and if we call, you need to come back, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Jensen, call your next witness.
Say calls Kara Britt.
Do one more witness. Won't be as long, I don't think. Not that long of a witness, is it? Is this person, Ms. Jensen, how long is this witness?
She's not very long for the state, but I don't know about the defense.
Okay. Everybody okay? One more witness? One more witness?
I'm handling everything.
All right, thank you, Mr. Barry Barasa. Ma'am, did I already swear you in this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, just have a seat. Pull up to the microphone. Thank you. State your name, please.
Kara Britt.
And just make sure you keep leaning in towards that microphone, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You may inquire.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Will you state your name, please?
Kara Britt,
And Miss Britt, what is your date of birth?
3/16/60.
What do you do for a living?
Odds and ends. Self-employed.
Okay. And where do you live?
Middleburg, Florida.
Where is that in relation to Pensacola?
It's about 5.5 hours away between Jacksonville and Gainesville.
Are you related to this defendant seated over here, Ashley Britt McArthur?
Yes, ma'am.
How so?
I am her aunt. My husband and her father are brothers.
And do you know her father's name?
John R. Britt, which is John Radcliffe. Radliff.
Okay, can you spell that?
I'm not quite sure of the spelling because I don't know if it's Radcliffe or Radliff. I think it's Radliff.
Okay.
I had a good friend named Cliff, so I can confuse him.
Okay, Miss Britt, do you own any local property in this area?
Yes, ma'am.
And where is it?
It's located at 2201 Britt Road in Cantonment.
Your last name is Britt.
Correct.
Is this road named after your family?
Correct.
Is that property located within Escambia County, Florida?
Yes, ma'am.
Give the jurors just a general description of that property.
We've owned it for 38, 39 years. It's 23 acres. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to live on it because my husband's job moved us. I love the place. It's gorgeous. I worked very hard to keep it very maintained.
Describe what's on the property.
The property has a 3-acre lake on it. It has a huge red barn, 2-story barn. It has a mobile home. It's got a 3-boarded wooden fence as you enter. It has horses on it. It's got several pastures, pecan trees, large pecan trees. It's a place you just want to go have a glass of lemonade.
All right. And have you had a chance to review some aerial photographs of your property before today?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you what have been previously marked as states 8 and 9. You'll just take a look at those and see if you recognize them.
Yes, ma'am.
And are those fair and accurate visuals of your property on Britt Road?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, at this time I move states 8 and 9 into evidence.
Okay.
Received as 8 and 9.
And permission to publish?
You may,
Watch your eyes, it's gonna go right. If I give you a pointer, would you mind?
Oh, no, that'd probably be help.
Just push this little button. You're just gonna describe the property.
Okay. You want me to describe it now?
Sure. This is State's Exhibit number 8 for the record.
Well, obviously, that's Britt Road. You always come to the end. This is an asphalted driveway up until this area. That's where we park our cars. This is our mobile home with a nice size awning and a deck on it. All these lines that you see here is all boarded, 3-boarded fence. Obviously, that's the lake. And there's a pier, there's a gazebo there. Lots of big pecan trees, you can't see them. This is a horse ranch arena. This is our barn. In our barn, you really can't tell it, but this center area is a two-story barn. And it's got this over here and this over here. Those two sections are like large awnings. So they're open to the outside. The inside in here and the two-story part of it is all closed in, and you can only get access to that by key. And there's a huge gate right here. Everything is always locked. So unless you know me and I specifically hand you a key, you cannot get in.
Did Ashley McArthur have a key?
Yes, ma'am, because she was boarding horses.
Okay.
It's a horsing facility.
Okay, and along the left side, on the left side of the barn, is that the property line for the next person?
Yes, everything that you see cleared is our property. It's a long rectangle.
This is State's Exhibit number 9, and is this just a closer up area
Correct.
of the property?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, was anyone living on that property? Ooh. Was anyone living on that property back in August, September, October of 2017?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and who was living there?
My son,
What's your son's name?
Kyle.
What's his last name?
I'm sorry. Kyle Britt.
Okay. And how long had your son been living on the property?
The end of July, I came over with him and we moved him over from Gainesville. He was going from Gainesville College to UWF.
Okay.
And so at the end of July, we moved him over. We came in on a Friday, we unpacked him on a Saturday, and we left on a Sunday.
Okay. Now, back in August, September, October, did you come to Pensacola periodically?
Yes, ma'am, at that time, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were you maintaining the property out there?
Yes, ma'am.
You had mentioned that Ashley had a horse on that property?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and in September of 2017, how long had she had a horse out there?
She's had a horse out there, not the same horse, 2 different horses for the last 7 years.
Now, did you have a wedding out there in 2017?
Yes, ma'am, my son got married there.
When was that?
That was in April.
And did Ashley attend that wedding?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in the first part of September, was Ashley doing any type of work out there that you knew of?
Ashley never worked out there.
Do you know about a hammock that was on your property?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell the jurors about a hammock.
I was in town in February because my future daughter-in-law was having a bridal shower. So we were also lining up, because it's the traveling so much, we were lining up venue stuff along with that shower. So we had several companies come out, music, caterers, whatever.
Okay, let me focus you on the hammock.
Yes, no, but, right. So we were doing things for the wedding, and the hammock was out there that shouldn't have been out there.
Okay.
And it was hanging in the trees, so I walked out, I didn't know whose it was, and I took it down because it was going to be in the way of our theme.
Where'd you put it?
I rolled it up and I put it under a bench under the awning part of the barn because I didn't know whose it was at that time, and
Okay, my question was, where'd you put it?
I put it on the bench.
Just trying to answer.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you're
this is
nervous.
tough.
I know,
This is
I
tough.
know you're nervous.
I just put it on the bench outside the barn, under
Okay.
the awning.
Thank you, ma'am. And can you describe the hammock for the jurors?
Yes, ma'am. Blue, green, purple, color, mainly blue. It was parachute-like. I know that because the wind caught it.
Okay. Did it seem like it was heavy or kind of lightweight material?
If I can carry it, it's lightweight.
Okay.
I'm getting older.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Britt. Those are all my questions.
All right, Mr. Barry Barosset's going to ask you questions, and if they're just yes or no, please answer yes or no.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody okay?
Yes, but we'll just leave that on, please.
Wash your eyes. I'm going to put State's Exhibit 8.
Okay. Let's see, just show me how to switch it. Okay. Okay, good. Just leave it. Good afternoon, Ms. McArthur. I'm Barry Barosset. How you doing?
Ms. Britt.
I'm Miss
Oh,
Britt.
excuse me, Miss Britt, excuse me. You said you've owned the property out there for over 30 years, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And during that time, you created a real pretty venue, did you not?
We created that prior to leaving. It was created that way prior to leaving.
Prior to leaving what?
It looks that exact same way when we left 38 years ago. Nothing's changed.
Okay.
Ma'am, just move that microphone. Just take it in your hand, up here. Don't,
Oh,
yes,
this?
just pull it to you,
Okay, perfect.
and that way you don't have to be in
And-
the light.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right.
Let me show you this. And the property is well-maintained to this day, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And in September, it was well-maintained as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what I'd like to do, you say this is a pointer? Can you show me?
Yes, here's-
Okay. This is Britt Road, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you come into your property, there's a little road here that goes to a parking area, correct?
Yeah.
Right along
Yes,
there.
sir.
Now, what is this right there? This building?
I didn't see a red light. What is that?
Yes.
That's our mobile home.
Okay.
It sits there.
May I approach the witness?
You may.
I'd like to show you what's been marked as defense exhibit number 1 for identification.
Okay.
Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of what it purports to be?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'd like to offer defense exhibit number 1 into evidence.
Judge, I know it's a state case, but the state has no objection.
All right, received as defense exhibit 1.
Okay. And would you hold that up and tell the jury what that is, please?
Hold-
Yes.
This is a picture. This is a picture of our mobile home.
Okay. And that's the first building that you come to, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, you also talked about a barn, I believe, and if I'm not mistaken, the barn is right there, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to switch to the next one if I'm going the right way, to the right here. Okay. Is that a close-up of the barn?
Yes, sir.
What's on this side of the barn right here?
That whole sign is a long awning with open paddocks on it.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
I'd like to show you what's been marked as defense exhibit number 2. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Is it a fair and accurate representation of that side of the barn?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to offer defense exhibit number 2 into evidence.
Judge, I have no objection.
Received as defense 2.
Ms. Britt, would you hold that up as well for the jury, and they'll have this later to see? I'm sorry, Your
Not
Honor.
that light.
Okay. And what that is you're looking this direction, correct? Look up here on the screen, I'm sorry. This direction into that paddock area?
Yes, sir.
And in the paddock area is where you said you saw or put the parachute, is that correct?
No, sir.
No? Where did you put it? I'm sorry.
It was on a bench. It was on a bench that sits in that corner right there.
Okay, on this side right here.
Opposite side, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I'd like to show you, I'm going to show you a couple photos, but first of all, I want to show you Defense Exhibit number 3. Do you recognize Defense Exhibit number 3?
Yes, sir.
And that is also a photo of the paddock area?
Yes, sir.
Is it fair and accurate representation?
For that side of the barn, yes, sir.
Okay, good. I'd like to offer Defense Exhibit 3 into evidence.
Received as defense 3.
And Ms. Britt, would you please hold that up? Okay. Now, am I correct in that photo there that you are looking in this direction?
Correct.
In other words, you're looking from the trailer toward that section, correct?
You would see that description, yes.
Okay. Now, you're very particular about this property, are you not? You like to keep it very neat.
Yes, sir.
And how many times would you say you've been out on that property, say from, you said April, you went there and Ashley McArthur attended a wedding to your brother, or your son, Carl?
Correct.
And the whole family was there, is that right?
Correct.
How many times do you believe that you went out to the property up through, say, October of 2017?
My goal was to be there every other weekend, but that didn't happen. I was approximately there maybe 3 to 4 times.
Okay. And was one of those times in early August when your son moved in? About August the 5th?
I drove him over there and delivered him that weekend in July 1st of August. I know, this
Answer
is
the
hard.
question.
That's okay.
Re-ask the question.
Was it approximately August the 5th when he moved in?
No, sir.
Did you bring him over around that period of time of August the 5th? Or did you come over that weekend, do you recall?
No, sir.
When do you recall bringing him over the first time to set up the trailer?
The weekend I came over was the last weekend of July, first weekend of August. I don't recall that date. I want to say it was like the 29th.
Okay, last week of
July.
first week of August. So sometime before August the 5th.
It was before then, yes, sir.
And did he move in at that time?
No, sir.
What was the purpose of coming over then?
We just brought his belongings over and unpacked his boxes on that Saturday.
Okay. You moved some of his personal effects in, but he didn't move in himself.
Correct.
And then when was the next time you think you came over?
The next time after that was probably in July, August. I'm going to say sometime in August, later in August.
Okay. And is that about the time that he moved in, right before school?
He moved in about 10 days prior to school starting. I don't recall that date.
Okay. Was he moved in there by the end of August or the 1st of September?
Yes, sir.
And did you come over during that period of time?
Yes, sir.
And on these occasions when you came over, it was not unusual for you to come over and see Miss McArthur, is that correct?
She would see me, yes.
She would see you?
Yeah, right, because we'd text back and forth, and she would always want to come
Okay.
see me, because I was doing a wedding.
Ma'am?
I know,
Ma'am?
this is tough.
Ma'am,
Yes.
it's easy, just answer the question. Don't tell the whole story.
Okay.
Thank you.
You
Sorry.
do see Ashley McArthur in the courtroom, do you not?
Yes,
Would you point to her? Is that your niece?
yes,
Let the record reflect that she is
It will.
Miss McArthur. You had a good relationship with Miss McArthur, did you not?
yes,
You had a very good relationship, I think. You described it as wonderful, great, good connection.
yes,
Is that true?
yes,
And many times when you'd come over, she'd bring you breakfast.
yes,
And sometimes you'd meet for dinner?
Yes,
And so it was not unusual for you to see each other, whether she came over to see you or vice versa, correct?
Yes.
So you had what you call a good connection.
yes.
Now, do you recall, did you come to the farm anytime after the first part of August? You know, end of July, first part of August? Did you come after that time?
Okay, ask your question again.
After July, end of July, 1st of August, when he moved in his effects, did you come back again?
After, yes.
Do you remember approximately when?
It was more towards the end of August and in September and in October.
Okay. Did you also come in September, like September the 22nd, from Savannah, Georgia?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you ever meet a person by the name of Taylor White?
No, sir.
Did you ever become aware of Taylor White missing?
No, sir.
When you came in September, did you go out to your property on Britt Lane?
Yes, sir.
And did you stay there?
Yes, sir.
How many days did you stay there?
I only stayed for weekends. I was meeting brides.
You were meeting brides?
Yes.
So when you were there, it was not uncommon for you to be on the property, in the barn, correct?
Yes.
All over the property? In the trailer?
I wouldn't use those words all over the property, no. I was focused on a wedding venue. I was doing work, business.
Where was the wedding venue mainly?
Mainly was probably from this point here, that direction, all of this. Brides would put things over here, the gazebo was used, and on the back side of the property down here, it gets more of a natural look.
Okay.
Not this area, no.
But is it fair to say that you did maintain the property when you were there?
With
Worked on the property?
With lawnmowers and chainsaws, yes, sir.
Okay. And in October, this fence line here, did you trim branches along here?
One tree, yes.
One
So I
tree?
didn't, yes, sir. I didn't trim up the property line, no, sir.
Let me show you a photo, two photos that are marked Defense Exhibit number 4 and 5 for identification. I'd like you to look at these photos. And Defense Exhibit number 4 purports to be a view from your barn here, looking this way. Do you recognize that?
Do I recognize these?
Number 4.
Yes, sir.
You do recognize that?
Right, it's property line.
Okay. And do you see where there's some brush had been trimmed right in this area?
Do I see that?
Yeah, on the photo.
I guess.
Do you recall telling people that you had trimmed brush right along here, tree limbs?
One tree, about 3 branches. So I didn't trim up trees, no, just one
You used
large. I used a chainsaw and a stick is what I call it, yes, sir.
And does that look like the area, number 4, where you trimmed?
Oh, definitely not, no, sir.
Definitely not?
Definitely not, no. No, I did not. The tree I worked on is, you can't even see it in this picture. The tree I cut's not even in this picture.
Okay, where was the tree you cut?
It's down here.
Well,
It's down here. See all this tree right here? There's a fence in there. See this fence? That fence runs along that line. I trimmed a tree back in here.
would you look at the
Not
fence
in
exhibit?
there.
Would you look at the fence exhibit number 4?
Yes.
Isn't there a fence there?
Yes, sir. It runs that whole property line. I'm not following your question.
My question is, did you trim along that fence line?
In this picture, no, sir, I did not.
But you recognize that picture as being one that's right here, correct?
That picture is right in here.
Okay.
What
Like
I
Alfred
cut
and
is
Devon's.
that down here.
Like Alfred and Devon's.
All right, received as defense 4.
I'd like you to look at defense exhibit number 5. Do you know what that purports to be?
What was your question?
Do you know what that photograph purports to be?
Yeah, it's a picture of the property line.
Okay. And do you recall when I came out to visit you?
Yes, sir.
And look at the property line, and you took me along here, this area? We walked your property.
Right.
Do you remember walking along here?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember showing me where the remains of Taylor Wright were found?
You asked me, and I
Ma'am,
figured,
just answer the question.
yes, sir.
And did you show me?
Yes, sir.
And does that picture in defense exhibit number 5 purport to be that area?
I guess. I haven't made it a mental note of it.
Okay. I'd like to offer that in Douglas.
All right.
Received as defense number 5.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Britt, will you agree with me that the location of the remains of Taylor Wright were approximately there?
No, sir, they weren't.
Okay, where were they?
They were more up this right there.
Well, I said approximately, right there, you're saying.
Okay, well.
Okay.
That's a little more, okay.
That is probably 30 feet from the out edge of the barn, isn't it?
I've never measured it.
Well, you've walked it. Is it 10
You mean
feet?
from there to there?
Yes.
It'd probably be, yeah, probably 30 feet, okay.
Okay. And this is the trailer, correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry, yeah.
I'm
my bad.
referring, and
Yes,
when I say this, I'm referring to state exhibit number 9 we've been talking about. This fence line and this blow up of it is defense exhibit number 9. What is this right here? This portion?
Wait a minute, where's defense exhibit 9?
Right, this is it up here, Your Honor.
Okay, that would be states.
Oh, excuse me, I'm correct. I'm incorrect.
let me make
State
sure.
exhibit 9.
Okay.
I apologize, Your
Sure,
Honor.
just trying to make sure record's clear.
I understand. Thank you, Your Honor. This is the porch,
yes, sir.
and on that porch, it's a nice porch area. You've got chairs and sitting areas and all that, correct?
Yes,
And from this porch area, you've got a view of this area, don't you?
yes, sir.
Now, during the time that you were out on this property, after the beginning of September till October, when you trimmed some things along here, and you said, I think that was what weekend did you trim that?
I trimmed that the 15th or the 16th of October.
Okay. During all those times when you were out there, did you ever see anything such as blood anywhere?
No, sir.
In the barn, did you see any drag marks on the property?
No, sir.
Did you see anything that would indicate that anyone was murdered on your property?
No, sir, I would never even think that.
I understand you wouldn't
Yeah.
think it, but obviously if you were out there and everything during this period of time, you would have noticed that something was unusual, wouldn't you?
In a heartbeat, I'd notice something unusual, but
Ma'am, don't.
I know, yeah, it's hard. It's tough.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, oh, yes, sir.
Because this area is almost like a park area. It's well trimmed, well maintained.
Yes, sir.
Your son, Kyle, developed a good relationship with Ashley, did he not?
It's his cousin. I would say yes to that.
I mean, during the time that he lived there, from probably sometime near the end of August through October, they had a good relationship, correct?
You'd have to ask him.
You recall describing as Had a good time?
I've never been asked that until this second.
Pardon?
You've never asked me that until this second, so I can't answer that.
Well,
We're cousins, so I
Was it
guess.
such a relationship that he would hang out with her at the Sticks Lounge? Or
Most
Sticks?
definitely, he was wanting to meet family, if that's what you're asking. Yes, he have a lot of family here.
And in fact, you even went out to the Sticks Lounge, did you not?
Yes, I did.
And you didn't particularly care for it, did you?
No, I did. I got tired of talking about, well, never mind. Yes or no? Yes. This is tough.
Are you close, Mr. Barasa? Because otherwise I need to give the jury.
I am close, Your Honor.
Okay.
Let me check with John a second. I think
Okay.
we're very close.
Okay.
I think I'm just about ready. Just let me breeze through these a little bit and look at my notes. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Jensen?
Ms. Britt, Mr. Barasa, oh, thank you. Mr. Barasa said, or something to the effect of you didn't find anything unusual out there at the times you were out on the property, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you looking for anything unusual?
No, ma'am.
Were you looking for a dead body?
No, ma'am.
And did anyone, or not anyone, did you really pay a whole lot of attention to this property line to the left of the barn?
Honestly speaking, I don't focus on that. This side here. My pointer quit working. I don't look that way. I look at the pretty parts of the property.
Okay, so again, my question was, did you really pay a whole lot of attention to
No,
this
ma'am.
property line?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and then the fence that runs along that property line, does it stop right where I'm pointing, right about here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's a corner post.
All right. Now, Mr. Barras had asked you if on October 15th or October 16th, when you were out there, if you saw any blood or any drag marks. Do you remember that?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember.
And he said there was nothing to indicate that someone had been murdered?
Right.
Right, okay. Well, there was a body found out there, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Those are all my questions.
All right, is she free to go, or is she,
Let me check with Mr. and Mr. Barras.
okay? And then, folks, we're going to take a break. Just hang on 1 sec, okay?
That's not working, Judge, or I couldn't get it to
Okay, don't,
this information.
just leave it there.
Yes, ma'am.
She can be released from the state under the fence.
All right, you're completely released, but don't discuss your testimony,
Yes,
okay?
ma'am.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's getting up. I'm going to do this very quickly. You leave your notepads and pencils. You're free to talk about anything, including how wonderful the judge is, but don't discuss the case. All right, we'll be back at 5 to 11, pick up where we left off. You may go. All right, anything we need to talk about, State?
The second gentleman over, he had tried to communicate, and maybe they should be told out to, because I saw him at the bailiff come over apparently earlier, and he wanted boxes removed. I didn't know that until later when he made the complaint again or something. So maybe just ask them to raise their hand if they have an issue or something. Okay?
Yeah, I understand. I just don't want to encourage them like to ask questions. Next thing we're going to do is start getting questions, but I'll try to remember to say if you have, I think they're because I had them communicating with me about the bathroom, but I'll just remind them, that if they need something besides a question answered, that just raise their hand or
I think
something.
he was trying to do it a couple times.
Sure. Okay. I'll see y'all at 5 till 11.
5 to 11.